go. Money talks.
Here comes the money.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. How you doing over there, Matt?
How are you doing, Char?
I'm doing wonderful. Who do we have in the building with us today? Elysia Dunams.
The one and only.
Yes, and she wrote this amazing book that I cannot put down. We have to get a little camera shot of it before we get started.
Make sure you get that from multiple angles.
Multiple angles. It's amazing. She wrote a book. It says, I get to. And she crossed out the word have. And so I want to start out by asking you why you chose this as the cover, because I absolutely love it. But what made you choose this as a cover?
Well, in life, a lot of people say they have to.
Right.
They have to go to school. They have to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
They have to pick the kids up. What would happen if you reframe it and say it as a get to?
Right. So it's a positive.
Absolutely. I get to go to work because guess what? Some people don't have a job.
It's
Absolutely.
a blessing. Absolutely.
So that's the whole concept of the book. And I start off the book with that chapter saying I get to versus I have to.
Yes. You know what? But this book, and I'm going to ask you some questions so we can get a little background on you. But this book for me is amazing because when I hear people and you're talking and you just hear the negativity that's coming out of their mouth that they don't even realize, it just makes the hair on my neck stand up. It's like, don't say that. You're projecting into your future what you don't want.
Absolutely, because
Right?
there's power in words and power of the tongue.
Power.
Power in the tongue.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What you say, you create.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It's the power of the spoken word. So it's really important that what we say in our life, we visualize it. And I always say it comes from dream life into real life through the words we use.
Mm-hmm.
So our declarations, dream it, declare it, and deliver it.
Absolutely.
Isn't that how we manifest things in life
Absolutely.
and create what we want?
Especially,
Yes.
I have my vision boards set up every single year, and I usually try to, keep tabs on them every couple months.
Every couple of months. And you right now, and I love to use this as a way to, as humans, we get to course correct moment by moment. And you said, I'm trying. Are you trying or are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing. I'm sorry. I'm glad that you caught that.
Because that's one of the chapters of my book is trying is failing with honor.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to, I'll try to get there on time. I'll try to be at your event.
Yes.
Are you going to try to be at my event or are you committed to being at my event?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm going to ask someone that the next time I have an event. Are you committed to being there or are you trying to be there?
Well, we live in Los Angeles, and they say there's lots of flaky people in LA. And when you invite someone somewhere and they say, I'll try to get there, I mean, it's you are your word.
That's right.
So it's either you're going to be there or you're not.
That's right.
You either do or you do not. So I rather people be committed from the very start or be committed in their no, saying, I can't make it. Please let me know the next time. And I'd love to be there. So being committed with whatever you decide to do.
Now, we have so much to talk about with you, but I want to start, it would be remiss of me not to get a little bit of your history of what led up to you writing this book. So just give us a brief synopsis, encapsulated, of who you are and how you got to this point, because I love your story.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is my second book, actually.
I know.
Absolutely.
I wrote a book 11 years ago, and there's another play on words with this book. It's called Goal Digger.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, lessons learned from the rich men I dated. I wrote the book in my late 20s. Launched in my early 30s. And to tell you the truth, it has a lot of similar concepts. What I learned from successful people, and you can learn this in whatever, through mentorships, through connections, through networking. Successful people speak with certain ways, in certain ways. They use certain words.
Absolutely.
They visualize.
Yes.
They create as they speak. They act as if.
Right.
Act as if that it is, that's a really powerful manifestation tool is you act as if it's already happened.
It's already happened.
Absolutely.
And you walk into it
Yes.
as though it has already happened. You are the CEO of your company.
Absolutely.
You are the president of your company.
Yes.
You are who you create yourself to be. So I love that.
Absolutely. It's really important. And in being confident, if you aren't confident in yourself, if you aren't confident in the words you use, how can other people be confident in you?
Absolutely.
So it is leaning in, it is being at the table, and it is claiming. I mean, a lot of it is claiming a lot of this is manifestation language and the language of abundance. And I truly believe, just as you were talking about your visualization board, and I was actually doing mine last night, is it's really powerful to visualize what you want to create. And then there's action,
Absolutely.
obviously. So you just don't visualize and then just think it's going to poof, pop. You take the steps required to make it happen. And some of those steps are declaration, is saying what you want, telling other people what you want to create. That creates buy-in. That creates people who can support you in your journey and what you want to create. It also requires action.
Absolutely.
As the Puritans say, you get to pray and move your feet.
That's right.
Everything is in motion.
Everything's in motion, and people think it's this one giant quantum leap to success. Like they stand here and they say, I want to be successful, or whatever it is. I want to have a family. I want to do whatever it is you want to do. And they think it's just one giant quantum leap. You just jump from this space to the space you want to be in, when really it's all those steps along the way that create the success you're looking for. And it's the mindset, the words you use, and like you said, show up as though it's already in motion, as if it's already happening.
Yes. And so something that's important in my book, it's not only the words that you use, it's the intonation behind the words. Because even when you're using I am declarations, I am beautiful, I'm a joyful, connected, and compassionate woman, I am wealthy, healthy, and wise. If you don't believe it,
Absolutely.
there'll be a disconnect.
Absolutely.
And so there's this journey. We were talking about the gap as we sat
Yes.
down today,
Right.
talking about the gap. And I always say this, that every CEO, every mentor, every president of every country, every leader, when they wake up in the morning, they see the gap and they fall in love with the gap, because in the gap lies innovation. In the gap lies possibility. In the gap lies opportunity.
Yes.
So if there weren't any gaps, I mean, think about all the businesses out there that were created because there was a gap.
Absolutely.
So God bless the gap.
Absolutely.
And let's enjoy the journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of my friends were actually like, we've been doing a lot of brainstorming about ways to fill in the gap with different niches, especially with simple concepts that the masses could use. And one of the ideas that I thought that I was going to be the innovator of was, have you heard of the company called Tile? Where every single day I was waking up, I couldn't find my keys from the night before. So I was thinking of creating a device where you can connect it to an app to where it can signal anywhere that you're at, where your where your keys or where any object that you have is located. So did the whole rollout plan. We were coming up with it, and then the friends dropped the bomb that the company had already been featured on the news and everything. So I was like, man, stole my idea. So now I want to buy stock into the company.
Right, exactly. But you know what? That's that positive spin on any situation. I feel like if you didn't invent it and you thought it was a great idea, support it.
Absolutely.
You know,
I love that.
Instead of, because if not, you fall into, I didn't do that, I should have, and all of those things. That is just a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. You need to get on to whatever the next idea is. So if you have an idea and you realize, you research if someone else has used it or done it, support it and keep moving. Right?
Absolutely. Comparison is a thief of joy. So
Absolutely.
When I see someone that is powerful and, doing what they're doing, be inspired by them.
Absolutely.
Not envious. Be inspired by what they are doing, because there is, I believe in a world where everyone gets to win.
Right.
And so win-win situations all the way around. And someone like Oprah, who I'm inspired by.
Yes.
Or someone like, who is someone that you're, Charline, inspired by?
I absolutely love Oprah because I love her story. So she's definitely someone. Also, Whoopi Goldberg is another one that inspires me. And I also think Beyonce, they laugh at me. Diana Ross and Beyonce are two of my favorites. And you see my cameraman over there
That's the two
shaking
people
his
that
head.
she likes to emulate in the shower.
Right.
That's why.
I'm singing because in my other life, I was a famous singer.
I love it.
So I get to reenact it in my shower. Yes. But, the reason I love those women is because they dare to step out. They work really hard at their craft. they've mastered their craft, and they're unapologetic about it. And so those are some of the reasons I absolutely love and I'm inspired by them.
And they use their platform.
They use their platform.
So they have a
completely.
gift, they created it, and they use it to bring all of mankind forward.
Exactly.
And that's what's capable, that's what we're all capable of. And something I firmly believe is that what one has done, all can do.
All can do.
And that's really important. And so the words you use being one component of your toolkit in life.
Right.
So the words you use, visualizing, meditation. Some of the things that I talk about in the book is the power of acknowledgement.
Yes.
Acknowledging people in the here and now.
now. Yes.
And Charline, I want to acknowledge you for creating this platform to be able to encourage other people.
Thank you.
To be able to create a platform for people to speak into and also for people to be inspired.
You know, and it was created in the Gap. That's why this spoke so much to me, because I think that people either are inspired in the Gap or they're lost.
They're
the Gap.
lost. Yeah.
They're lost. And too many people get lost in the Gap instead of creating in that space. Because I believe that if you're in that space, you know, you're there because God wanted to give you a quiet space where you could do what your purpose is instead of what you think you're required to do.
I think rock bottom is a great launch pad.
Yes.
Look at
Yes.
Dwayne The Rock.
Yeah.
He had $8 in his pocket.
Man. I wonder what he has in his pocket now.
Right. Think about it. It's almost when you like rock bottom can absolutely be a blessing.
Absolutely.
How many people came from rock bottom?
Yes, absolutely.
You actually see more stories, and that's a great story too. Going from rock bottom to blast off.
Yes.
And it's interesting when someone comes from a place of not having or being down or dismayed and being able to turn that and use that to propel themselves forward.
Right. And I think also people don't realize that when they're in a gap, it can happen at any point in your life. You know, there is ebb and flow. People are really successful in some area or some industry, and then that industry might dry up. And then you have this gap where you have to either reinvent yourself or try to knock down that door of what was, right? And so I think with purpose in that gap, you can create something even greater than you did before. And to me, that's what those gaps are for.
Yes. And when you talk about reinvention, so I shared that I wrote the book Gold Digger, Lessons Learned from the Rich Men I Dated. And I was really excited. I was like, wow, this is like a inspiring women to create their own money and entrepreneurship. And it was a kind of a play on words. And I think about it when I look back, I'm like, wow, it really created a movement. Because Gold Digger is a huge movement on Instagram.
Right.
And I was the first woman to write a book and to really put that
out
term
there.
And now when I went on the tour, the radio tour and the book tour for the book, I wasn't well received, I would say. And I had one experience, and I share in this book, is that I was being interviewed. One of my first radio interviews was on Oprah and Friends radio.
Oh, wow.
And I was really excited. It wasn't Oprah, but it was
Friends.
It was her and Friends. And Jean Chatzky is the person who interviewed me, and she was a finance expert on the Today Show. I don't know if you know who Jean Chatzky is.
Yes, I do.
And when I walked into the studio, I was young. I had long hair in a ponytail, and I was really excited. Brought my book in, and she there was a coldness.
That fills the room.
That filled the room. And I walked in, I'm like, this is not going to be good. I just knew it. Knew it. So I sat down and I was all perky and excited about my book. And she's like, so, why did you date millionaires? Those are some of the questions she asked me. And what, did you become a millionaire? And I'm like, well on my way. And, I was answering very optimistic. And then she asked a question that I was not prepared to answer. And to tell you the truth, I'm such a open book.
Yes.
I'm a Sagittarius. So we say truth-telling Sagittarius.
Truth-telling Sagittarius,
we just
yes.
blurt everything out. So this is I was young. I had a PR agent, but she didn't really media train me. And Jean Chatzky asked me, did any of these men give you money? And I said, yeah. because I didn't know what else to say because it was the truth.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't have enough time in the soundbite to explain that I was dating a man for a year.
Right.
And he wanted me to travel with him.
Yes.
And I said, at that time I had a business to run and a daughter. And I said, I can't travel with you because I have a business. He goes, let me help you out. That didn't fit in a soundbite.
Right.
So I didn't have time to say that. And so what she said next, so I just said yes. And she said, oh. And she uncrossed her leg and crossed her other leg and said, you sound like a working girl to me.
Wow.
On radio.
Wow.
And I was like,
yes.
like I totally dimmed my light. I was like I didn't know what to say. And then I walked out and I said, I have a 5-year-old daughter. That's never going to happen again. So I stopped promoting the book.
Oh, wow.
So why I use this story is we talked about reinvention.
Yes.
I said, I'm going to stop promoting the book. And I stopped. I started putting on women's conferences. And out of my women's conference, I had several of the speakers come to me and say, hey, Elysia, we want to write a book. We know you wrote a book. Can you help us? And that launched my next business.
Wow. And wow. And when we come back, we want to hear about that next business because you have a lot of success in you. And I'm glad you mentioned that because it seems like that helped you launch into where you are now. So we want to hear about that when we come back.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
This is Charline.
And this is God's Gift, Matthew.
And we are at Lunch with the Finance Bunch on Dash Talk Radio. And we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm God's Gift with who?
Charline.
And we're here with the one and only Alicia Dunams, one of the best writers I've ever got a chance to meet with, who has a wonderful book out right now called I Get To with the Have Crossed Out. One of the things that we wanted to piggyback off of that we were coming back from our previous break was talking about her previous book, Goal Digger.
GOAL.
Absolutely. Make your own goals. But one of the things that I wanted to speak about was in the midst of dating wealthy men, one of the things that I got a chance to check out from the videos that I saw from you was that you weren't really interested in dating a wealthy man just to be dating a wealthy man or marry a wealthy man. You were focused on learning from them to create your own businesses and to become just like them.
Exactly. So one on the very first dates of dating these wealthy men, we were sharing our past. And he's like, what have you done? I said, I've backpacked around the world. I graduated from UCLA. I just bought a house. I have this type of business. And I was sharing all the things with him that he did, that I've done. And he was like, wow, Alicia, he goes, you're industrious enough to be your own millionaire.
Absolutely.
And I say that was the lightning strike that ignited the forest fire for me. And so for me, the dates it was like networking. It was like mentorship.
Right.
It was for me, like marrying a rich guy was not something I was interested in. I mean, I'm 42 years old and I'm still single. So, I mean, I'm in a relationship, but if I was going to do this, I would have
You would have done it.
Right.
You had the opportunity.
Exactly.
Now, going from, learning from your experiences and having that experience where you said, you know what, I'm going to shut this book down because the message that I'm trying to enforce isn't what's happening due to the way the conversation went. And so now you propel yourself into, and you said, I'm going to do workshops. And I'm going to do things for women in that way. So the passion was still there. You just took it in another direction or added
and I went in the back seat. So I went in a very supporting role where I've supported thousands of people in writing books. I have business workshops, marketing workshops.
You got one coming up.
Yes, I have Bestseller in a Weekend that happens in Los Angeles and New York.
Yes.
And I've traveled around the world teaching marketing and business workshops. So I've built a business. I've built an online business. I've built a facilitation business. And it came out of that, really that time where I felt that she dimmed my light. So the reframe there that's available.
Yes.
And because this book is all about reframes.
Yes.
Is I was teaching a workshop in Las Vegas last year, my Bestseller in a Weekend workshop. And there was a woman there in the front row and she was sharing with me because I just shared the story. And she raised her hand and she said, I'm glad she said that to you,
Yes,
Elysia.
I am too.
And I go, why? Because if she didn't say that to you, you wouldn't be here supporting us with our books and putting our message out into the world.
Yes.
And that was such a beautiful reframe. And I realized back in that day, that cold fall day in New York City, when I felt my light was dimmed by her, I took full 100% responsibility and said, I dimmed my own light.
Yes.
And that's the power of reframe.
That's right.
And this is what this book talks about, because I personally believe that victimization or victimhood is a mindset. Now, I say that with a disclaimer.
Yes.
Obviously, there are people who have been victims of various things. I mean, we live in this world and we see it every day. And the way you respond, the way you perceive your life
Yes.
is 100% your responsibility.
Yes.
So I have an equation. E plus R equals O. The events and circumstances in your life, you might not be 100% responsible. I mean, we don't know what the traffic's going to be on the 405 or if whatever happens in life.
Right.
Yet we are 100% responsible for our response.
Yes.
And that equals the outcome.
Yes.
So you see things, terrific, just horrific tragedies that happen in the world. Yet you see that two different people can respond to it in two different ways. And the outcome is different.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of
Absolutely.
examples of that.
Like MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It was started by a woman who had a horrible experience because her child was killed by a drunk driver. And she took that horrific incident and turned it into a support system that's known worldwide.
Exactly. And Adam Walsh, who's the creator of America's Most Wanted.
Yes. Same thing.
He had a tragedy in his family, and he turned it and created something from it.
That's right.
So that is available to us all.
Yes.
So when you feel like you are a victim, it's your responsibility to see, how can I be a victor?
Yes.
How can I be 100% responsible?
How can I turn this around?
How can I own this and turn it around and use this as a lesson
Yes.
to support myself and others?
Yes.
How can I take a stand for myself and at the same time take a stand for someone else? Because when we live in a place where everyone wins, a world that everyone lives, we take for stands for ourselves and others at the same time.
That's
Absolutely.
right. And those are all the wonderful things that can happen in the gap.
In the gap.
In the gap,
absolutely.
right? You can reframe, customize your life in that gap. So I really want the listeners to know that if you are out there and you're in that gap, and what the gap is a space and time where you feel like your life may not be moving forward. The life you had before may be over. You may be a college student just getting out of college, and you've set yourself up to live your life in a certain way, and it might not be panning out, and you're in that gap like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? I have my degree. I did what they told me to do. Things aren't working out. That's that gap where you get to reframe that and say, this gives me the moment I need to decide what I'm going to do from here.
Yes.
And how I'm going to impact the world from here.
We get to reframe our life, change our life, reinvent our life moment by moment. It's not 1 year by 1 year.
Right.
Or
Moment
10
by
years by
moment.
10 years.
Yes.
It's moment by moment. At this time, we can shift.
Yes.
If you're having a bad day, if you stubbed your toe and you're like, I'm going to take this stubbed toe and I'm going to take this throughout the day
Yes.
and even into next week because I'm mad that I stubbed my toe that Monday morning, you can do that, or you can shift.
Right.
At that moment.
And you have the power to shift.
Absolutely. No one else. Like, it's in us.
Yes.
Whether that is taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out, whether it's meditating, whether it's writing in a journal, whether it's focusing out.
Yes.
I always say, when in doubt, focus out.
Focus out.
When we're self-focused, a lot of times that's when we're depressed. And my daughter, I have a almost 17-year-old daughter, and she's on Instagram, and I'm just like, all these girls looking at Instagram and looking at this girl here and this girl here and this girl's skinny and this girl's this and this girl's wearing, $5,000 shoes. it's the fastest way to be depressed is to be looking at other people.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Because we get to
that
watch
way.
their 30 seconds, their 1 minute, their 5 seconds of when things are going right.
Yes.
Or creating things that are going right. Now, I want to ask you about that. Now, with Instagram and with all this social media going on, and like you said, the young people and we are all looking at these 1 second frame shots of fame. Is that having how do you feel about that as far as in your book, how you talk about the positive words that you're saying? Do you think that helps or takes away from the situation? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think social media, it has definitely its positives, and definitely, I would say social media works and it doesn't work.
Yes.
And it's all from how you are using it, how you're using it. And so
consuming it.
and consuming it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so it's in life, you can find evidence for everything. Mm-hmm. Period. So you can find evidence that social media has been a positive influence on the world, and you can find evidence that it hasn't. And so what evidence are you looking for? Humans are evidence collectors.
Yes.
Right. So if we believe, if we're going to say today, I'm fat. I'm just going to, walk around and then you will find evidence all day that you are. That your pants don't fit, that there's someone skinnier walking down the street.
That's true.
You will collect evidence.
Yeah.
And we can change it. I'm beautiful. Throughout the day, you can find evidence of that.
That's right.
Someone gives you a compliment, you look in the mirror, you feel great, you just like, so whatever you decide or declare that day, you will find evidence for.
Mm-hmm. And
so
you
what evidence are you looking for in your life?
I love that, because on social media, I know for myself, I am inspired by people on social media.
Yes.
Like, and if I have an idea in my head of something that I want to do creatively, I can find it there.
Yes.
And I can see someone who's either doing it good or not doing it good, and I can learn from them, And so that's the way I think it was meant to be. It was created to inspire. It was my opinion, it was created to inspire. And so when we are looking on social media, I wanted to just make the point, look for validation of what you're trying to create. Don't look at it as a measuring stick. Look at it so that you know it's there. It's possible.
Absolutely.
And that's what we didn't have before. Before social media, we didn't really have instantly the proof of what was in your mind could be created. You just had to create it. Be a real visionary. Now you can have the vision and see it in some form, so there's validation for it, so you can move forward
and implement it immediately.
You can
come up with an idea and be literally selling that idea within minutes.
Yes,
using online marketing and online tools and social media. So absolutely.
So I just wanted to get your take on that. So thank you for indulging me.
Absolutely.
Now you have a lot of things coming up. A lot. So I want to talk about that right in the meat of the conversation, because I'm looking, and then not only are we Facebook friends, but I also get an email from you.
Okay.
And your emails are powerful. They really are. I look forward to them. And so, but I really want to talk to you about what you're doing right now, what classes you have coming up, what events you have coming up, and where you're taking this throughout the rest of the year. I wanted to do that right in the center of our conversation.
Absolutely. So 2018, I have a lot of workshops and opportunities. I firmly believe that when the river rises, all boats rise.
That's right.
So when there's opportunities for me, I love to share the opportunities with my clients and colleagues and people on my newsletter list.
Yes.
I believe you're on my newsletter list.
I am.
And you can go to AliciaDunams.com to get on that newsletter list. Now, next week I have something interesting. I'm going to be launching a LinkedIn business show.
Oh,
That's
nice.
right.
Yes.
I saw that. That was the very last one I got, saying that you're starting your LinkedIn business.
Yes. So there's a few more spots to get on that business panel. And I have an online workshop for book authors.
Yes.
Called Book Marketing in a Weekend. That's happening in July.
Yes.
Again, you'll find all about this if you go to AliciaDunams.com.
Now, how did you come up with a concept for that? Because I was very curious. Because there's so many authors out there and aspiring authors.
Yeah, so my Bestseller in a Weekend program came out of, I do women's conferences. Mm-hmm. And so when that incident happened in New York and I came back and kind of licked my wounds and said, okay, what am I going to do next? I decided I'll do a women's conference. And it was a women's conference about entrepreneurship and business, starting a business, etc. And I had 13 speakers. And the way I found these speakers was I took a look at the New York Times bestseller list at that time. And I said, okay, what female speakers are on or female authors, bestselling authors are on the list? At the time, it was Laura Langmeyer, Christine Comerford, and Marcy Shimoff. And what I did was I had my book Gold Digger, and it was about 2007, and I said, well, I'm just going to call these women up and see if they'll speak at my conference. So they didn't know me from Adam. And Facebook was just getting started. And so I called Laura Langmeyer first. And I said, hey, Laurel, my name's Elysia. I just wrote this book. Are you interested in speaking at my women's conference? And she said yes.
Nice.
Now, I was very fortunate because Laurel, I don't know if you know her, she's a millionaire maker, and she comes from Yes Energy. And I have 2 chapters on Yes in the book.
Yes, you do.
I love Yes Energy.
Yes, you do. I saw that too. Because I say yes and then figure it out. But
say yes and figure it out. I was teaching some young girls at a camp last week around my book, and I said, obviously there's a time and place for no. If anyone is,
of course,
invading your personal space,
Right.
etc. And what would life look like if you came from Yes Energy, came from yes, coming from yes if versus no because.
Right.
And I actually acted it out with this 14-year-old girl, and I said, hey, will you come to, what did I say? Would you come to Australia with me? I said to her. And she went instantly to no because she didn't think she'd be able to afford the ticket.
And you didn't ask her anything about money.
I didn't ask her anything. I said, come to Australia with me next week. And she said, no, because, oh, wait a minute. Yes, if you, and then she literally caught herself.
Right.
She goes, yes, if you buy the ticket. And I said, absolutely.
Right.
We were role playing.
Right.
It wasn't actually happening. It was so funny how our brain immediately goes to no.
We process information, I believe, because our brain is set up to protect us.
I was going to say, it's almost like a defense mechanism.
It's a defense mechanism saying, no, that's unsure ground. Don't go there. So your knee-jerk reaction, if you haven't retrained your mind, would be to default to no.
Default, and adults especially. Kids are a little better than adults. Adults, we are like, we want to stay comfortable.
Right.
We're making decisions on the past versus new possibilities.
That's right.
That this person we're talking to could have a free ticket to Australia in their back
Absolutely.
pocket.
Right.
But we are assuming no because we're thinking about our bank account or what have you.
Yes.
So I just wanted to use this when I talked about Laura Langmeyer. So she said yes for my women's conference. And then I'm like, oh, I was really excited. So then I called the other 2 women and I basically said, would you come speak at my conference? Laura Langmeyer is going to be one of the speakers.
Right.
Then they said yes. So then
That's how you work it.
and you come from possibility. That's
That's
the
right.
energy that is behind all innovation, all new businesses, any new enterprises is this yes energy that yes, and I'm going to figure it out.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Versus no and an excuse.
Right.
And stay small. So when you say yes and figure it out, you rise to the occasion.
That's
Absolutely.
You rise to the occasion. So then I had all of these headlining speakers, and then I had 13 female speakers at my conference. And then at the end of the conference, they one by one started coming up to me and saying, oh, I'd love for you to help us write a book. So that's when I launched my book funnel program, which is one of my programs to support people in writing books. And this is Done For You books. And then out of that, I launched also Bestseller in a Weekend, which is I'm best known for Bestseller in a Weekend, where I travel around the world. And I support business owners, leaders, thought leaders, anyone who wants to write a nonfiction book, to write a 100-page book in a weekend. And they have all their title, subtitle, their complete table of contents, and their strategy on how to make it a bestseller on Amazon.
Wow.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Now that's a turnaround.
That is amazing turnaround, right? Yeah. I definitely need to come and take part in that weekend.
So we have Bestseller in a Weekend coming to Los Angeles, October 5th to 7th.
I saw that. I saw that. I was looking at my calendar going, ooh, can I?
Okay, Shaw, what book are you working on?
Yes.
None of you.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So I just might, I have to check out my calendar, but I would love to.
Yes, I'm excited. Very excited for that.
Now, what does a day in the life of Elysia look like?
I love that question because that's a visualization that I
Yes.
support. Well, I practice myself and I support my clients and colleagues as well. And is to visualize your ideal 24-hour day
Yes.
and just live it.
Right.
That'd be, act as if.
Act as if.
So if you're saying, oh, I'm going to, work this job that I hate and I'm going to, do all of these things that I don't like to do, either you can reframe it.
Right.
So you can say, I'm grateful for this job as I get to do X, Y, Z. Don't stay. I invite you to leave the complaints behind and reframe. Because even if you're in a job you don't love,
Right.
you can reframe it. And
That's
you can
right.
just say, this is great right now. I'm grateful to have a job.
Absolutely.
And I get to mentor other people. And then it just starts changing. Then you start loving your job.
Absolutely.
So that's possible for you. Or you get to visualize your ideal 24 hours and create it. Whatever it is, we're always in creation mode.
You're always in creation mode.
Yes. So the day in the life of me, this is a perfect example of a day in a life, is to wake up with my loved ones and my daughter and, take her to school. I live by the beach. So working out every day. I work out every day. Go to the beach every day. Do something like this, like connect with other people who are doing big things in the world, either through lunch or through radio or a TV interview, what have you. Working with my clients for a couple hours a day and going out to a nice dinner or cooking at home. It definitely involves working out and being in nature.
Yes. That's a beautiful day. And
Absolutely.
she created that day, Matthew.
Right.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that I love that you've talked about in the past is feedback, and how initially when you used to get feedback, you didn't really enjoy it too much, but then you changed your thinking and concept about it.
Oh, yes.
And now you absolutely love feedback. So can you tell the people why feedback is really important?
Feedback is essential for growth. I used to despise getting feedback because that's people really sharing with you maybe what your blind spots are.
Right.
And that's important for growth. And so there's really great ways in terms of receiving feedback and giving feedback. And I share it in the book. One way to give feedback is, I believe, in the sandwich model, where you acknowledge someone first.
Right.
So you acknowledge them for how they're contributing, how they're giving back, how their work is. So you acknowledge them first, and you share an opportunity for them to grow, an opportunity for improvement, or opportunity for maybe something that doesn't work that could work.
Right.
And then you finish it off with, acknowledgement and just acknowledgement that they received the feedback or that they heard you out. So that's a way to give feedback. A way to receive feedback is when someone's giving you feedback, and it could hurt. It could be. I've gotten feedback from a friend who, she said, Alicia, you haven't been supportive of this particular part of my life. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know I was giving that energy or doing,
Absolutely.
And she was saying things from like about 10 years ago. And I just said, I really wish that you were able to bring this up back then.
Right.
So I could, of course, correct it at that time. And so when someone's giving you feedback, not everything's going to land for you.
Right.
So some things, because again, feedback is through the perception
Right.
of the person giving the feedback.
Of the person giving
and
the feedback.
everyone's perception is different.
Definitely.
It's colored by the traumas in their life, the biases, how they grew up, everything, faith,
Right.
all of these different things. So when someone's giving you feedback, there's going to be stuff that lands for you, and you'll say, you repeat what landed for you. I understand that you felt like I haven't been there for you, that I didn't respond in this way. This is what landed for me, and what you can count on me moving forward. And then repeat it back. What you can count on me moving forward is that I will be there to listen.
Absolutely. I like that, because then you hold yourself accountable
And
to
then
it.
you hold
Right.
yourself accountable, and they know, and then there's these boundaries created in the
That's
relationship.
right.
And then they have this like, okay, great, she listened to me. And then you have that accountability, as you shared.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
What you can count on me moving forward. It's powerful. If a teacher's giving you feedback, if your boss is giving you feedback, if your spouse is giving you feedback, but you can count on me moving forward.
Wow. Well, you know what? This is a great, great segment. I'm loving it. And when we come back after our station break, I want to talk more about how you see your future unfolding. And so let's talk a little bit about that. My name is Charline. This is Lunch with the Finance Bunch on Dash Talk Radio.
Dash Talk Radio.
And we'll be right back.
And this is God's Gift, Matthew.
And we're back here talking again to Elysia, who wrote a beautiful book called I Get To instead of I Have To, which starts out positive from the beginning. And I wanted to know, what does your future look like? How do you see your future unfolding?
That's a great question because I was just doing my vision board last night.
I heard you say that.
Yes. And so my future includes traveling the world and as a leader, as an author, as a facilitator, as a volunteer.
Yes.
And inspiring millions of people to live their best life and to get their message out into the world.
I love that.
That's what my future is. And it's already happening.
That
Yes,
sounds super exciting. I love your life, Elysia. Are you going to take me with you?
Yes, if.
I will buy my own ticket.
So if that's the question, it's been answered. Now, you see your future bright, and so do I. And like I said, I read your newsletters, and I've been following you since we met. And we met on Single Moms Planet. We met at that when you were awarded for being an author. And then we got to have lunch again forward to a part of a mastermind group. And so I noticed that you do a variety of things. And like you said, you encourage where you can. And just to have that intimate time with you, to kind of get to know you a little bit better through your book, for me, was inspiring because I said, here's a woman who is going to have a positive impact on the future. And I just want to say that because with intention. And I think when we move forward with intention, there's a lot that can be done because you're doing it.
Absolutely. The subtitle of my book is How Using the Right Words Can Radically Transform Your Life, Relationships, and Business. It's all about intentional communication to create transformational results.
Yes.
When you are intentional, dream it, declare it, deliver it, you get to create those results. Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Now, we on the Finance Bunch have some questions that we want to ask you
Yes.
that are a little bit of fun. We call it our balance
balance
sheet.
I love that.
And so we just ask these questions of our guests to see what their thoughts are. So what was your most memorable paycheck ever? You don't have to tell us the amount. We just want to know what paycheck it was.
Well, I have been a business owner, so I don't get paychecks. I just get checks.
Right.
Okay. So I made $100,000 in 60 days.
Wow.
I was pretty excited about that.
That is exciting. Yeah. That is exciting.
See, this is why me and Elysia are hanging out.
What is one purchase you most regret?
Well, one purchase I regret. Well, I was just talking about this, and a regret is obviously you move forward from regret.
Right.
I bought a place in San Francisco and it was high and I walked away from it, and I really wish I didn't walk away with it because I know it would have increased.
Yes.
So that's a purchase I made that I regret because I walked away.
Right.
And it's a very expensive lesson, which is
Very
awesome.
expensive. Yeah. Because then you learn from that and then you move forward and you know that, there it's ebb and flow. So
Absolutely. So many people lost their shirts in
Of
2008.
course.
So we got a lot of good MBA lessons during that.
Definitely. But on the other side of that, a lot of great businesses were born because of the downturn.
Absolutely.
So you're absolutely right. Now, what does success mean to you?
Success means happiness and freedom.
Are you successful?
Yes.
I knew
Yes.
it. I knew she was going to say
Absolutely.
that.
That's why we went on the trip with her.
Is there anything that keeps you up at night?
I would say if I'd be honest, and I believe about being honest, is I bring money in and I spend a lot of money every month. So definitely the ebb and flow. It's like, okay, how can I think about how can I lower my expenses and increase my impact? And so that's something that I would say that's a gap for me. And it's instead of keeping me up at night, it's something I play with. It's something I toy with. It's something like I visualize, okay, what if I do this? What if I do that?
Yes.
So it's not like I sleep really well. I was thinking about this morning in the shower, I'm going to do a printed t-shirt that says, live hard, and sleep harder. Right. Because work hard, play
harder or
because
something.
I was knocked out. I get at least, I would say, 9 to 10 hours of sleep every night.
Wow.
Yeah, so I sleep well, so there's nothing keeping me up.
Create that T-shirt, and I'll buy one for inspiration.
Live hard, sleep harder.
Now, one fun question that we love to ask all of our guests is, if you were to hit the lottery, which is about a little over $200 million right now, what would you do with the money?
Oh my goodness. I would.
We're gonna scoot over because we're friends now.
Yeah.
So if you do make this money,
Yes.
yeah, how are we gonna spend it?
Absolutely. How are we going to spend it? So definitely charity. So there would definitely be a charitable component.
I agree with that.
So, and then pretty much buy a beautiful home and charity.
Nice.
And share with your family and friends.
Share with family and friends in a charitable way. So it's going to be, I believe in purpose, not just spending money. So it would be like starting a business.
Mm-hmm.
Or starting
creating
a nonprofit.
Yeah, absolutely. Or contributing to a nonprofit. I've contributed to nonprofits in the past, so it would definitely be a component, not just like. I'm so in terms of material things. I'm just not
over it.
I'm at the point like I wear a really bright dress when I met you the second time. I wear jeans all the time, and I almost want to be like Steve Jobs, where I wear a black turtleneck and just like do my thing, because I just don't have time to be thinking about all this. And I literally, I'm like, I might as well just wear jeans from like my upper lip to my toes. Because
absolutely, that's life goals.
Because it's like, I don't want to think about it. So material things. I mean, obviously, we like to have a little nice here, some jewelry or what have you, but it doesn't fill me in any way.
Yeah, it gets to a point where it doesn't fill you. Like, when you're younger or just starting out, sometimes those things, are attractive. But as we realize what the true value of life is, we tend to kind of step away from it.
It's relationships. Yeah, it's relationships and being of service.
Yes. Well, you know what? It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I knew it would be. I was so excited.
Absolutely.
And so I want to make sure that we get all of your contact information so that we can continue following you, and so our followers can follow you.
Absolutely.
And so please give us all the information. And also, don't leave out what your upcoming dates are that are in LA or in New York, so we'll know what those are too.
Absolutely. Well, I'll just send everyone for ElysiaDunams.com to get on the email list. Instagram @Elysia Dunams, LinkedIn @Elysia Dunams, Facebook @Elysia Dunams. For Bestseller in a Weekend, all the dates and information are at bestsellerinAweekend.com.
Yes, and you spell her name ALICIADUNAMS.
Yes, and buy the book and leave a review.
Please
on Amazon.
Yes.
This book will change your life. Definitely, for the better.
And it will fill in all the gaps.
All the gaps. Well, I'm Charline.
And this is God's Gift, Matthew.
And this has been a wonderful interview. And you can reach us on Dash Talk Radio. You can listen to us there.
Tuesdays
at noon. And then we have a YouTube channel.
Check us out.
You can watch us. Check us out, right?
Char will be looking cute as always.
Always. That is my goal. To look cute and give good information and have wonderful guests. Not necessarily in that order. So we'd love to see you on Dash Talk Radio, or let you hear us on Dash Talk Radio on Tuesdays and our YouTube channel whenever you want to watch. This is Charline. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you on Tuesday at noon. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. I'm your host, Miss Charline, on Dash Talk Radio.
Tuesdays at noon. I'm God's Gift.